Joining me right now is retired two-star Marine Corps general and author of the book, The Ever-Shrinking Fighting Force. General Arnold Punaro is here. General, thanks very much for being here. Well, before we get to the book, I've got to get your take on what you just heard. We know how the NBA feels about China. They come to the Chinese Communist Party's rescue over and over again. But this was really unbelievable, saying that the genocide happening was below his line of interest.
Well, Maria, it's a privilege to be with you here this morning, even though the external circumstances for our country at home and abroad are exceedingly worrisome and grim. And certainly, I don't identify with his comments, and we should be dealing with China and recognize we're no longer in a situation where we can coordinate or cooperate with China. We've got to confront China. We're dealing with a very, very dangerous situation in the world right now. China's on the march. Russia's on the move, North Korea's on the advance, inflation's on the rise, and Congress is sitting on their ducks. We should be right now trying to deter Russia from invading Ukraine, deter China from increasing saber rattling and threatening the independence of Taiwan, keeping North Korea from further missile tests. They've already tested 4 in the first 2 weeks in January, and dealing with escalating inflation. But Congress has failed to pass a full-year defense bill, and our Department of Defense is losing $5 to $6 billion a month in purchasing power. So already we're down $25 billion, which means our warfighting readiness of the combatant commands that have to deal with these situations is deteriorating. We don't have the European Defense Initiative that's been approved that would help us deal with Russia and lethal weapons to Ukraine. I could go. The list is endless, Maria. And as you mentioned with your earlier, they should shift their priorities to dealing with our national defense.
But, General, you make so many good points. We have a budget right now, which is a Bernie Sanders budget, which pretty much calls for a decline in defense spending, okay? A decline in defense spending as our adversaries across the world are on the march. I mean, look, why would the owner of the, a basketball team or the CEO of a major bank care about the Uyghurs getting tortured if our own leadership in America doesn't do anything about it? Let's be frank. Policy in this country has done nothing to hold the Chinese Communist Party to account. What should Joe Biden and company be doing against this adversarial Chinese Communist Party right now?
Maria, I think the first thing we've got to do is the administration, working with everybody, needs to force the Congress to pass a full-year defense appropriation bill. We're looking at the risk of a year-long CR, which is unprecedented. And I'll be candid with you, it would be worse than Bernie Sanders ever dreamed of. The cut would be $76 to $100 billion, worse than the worst year of the FY13 sequester. We're talking about a catastrophic situation. And as important as human rights, and we can do both at the same time, putting pressure on China on human rights. But the thing that's going to put pressure on China is when they see us, as one of your guests last week, David McCormick, pointed out, we've got to focus on the technologies that Russia and China worry about: hypersonic weapons, quantum, artificial intelligence. We pass these defense bills, that's going to put the kind of pressure where we can actually have a stronger position on human rights as well. So again, we're dealing with a situation that could be a worse cut to defense than Bernie Sanders ever dreamed of.
Somebody just sent me a video of these dancers. They looked like American citizens. They were dancers. And in fact, when you look closely, they are robots. And you can't even tell that they were robots. They were made in China. Where is this going? The Chinese Communist Party creating robots in the military, robots to take jobs, not to mention hurling this COVID-19 virus at the world, fentanyl onto American shores. Should any of these issues be brought up to Xi Jinping? Joe Biden has spoken with him 4 times. It never came up.
Maria, we have to understand where China's headed. They've been very clear about what they want to do. They want to basically take over the world economically, militarily, diplomatically, and technologically. And on the technological front, it's really scary how far they've come. They're ahead of us on hypersonic weapons. They now have a larger Navy than we have. We've got to confront China. We can no longer play kissy face with China And to do that, you've got to have a defense funding bill. And by the way, it also covers all of our intelligence communities. This $5 to $6 billion cut we're dealing with right now, when our intelligence committees are trying to figure out what's Russia up to when it comes to Ukraine.
Well, it's a great point, and I wanted to move on to that as well. Real quick before we go, a group of 7 senators arrived in Ukraine yesterday to meet with Ukraine President Zelensky and other officials as Russia troops pile up along that border. Russia is now thinning out the embassy in Ukraine, General. Where is this going?
Well, I hate to say it. I wish those senators, and God bless them for going over there, they should have brought some lethal anti-tank weapons to Ukraine. The only thing Russia understands is power. We've got to threaten their military force with anti-tank weapons, anti-missile weapons. We've got to threaten their economic being, and that means, unfortunately, not just talking about sanctions, but going after their oil exports, whether it's by train. By the way, every 15 minutes, a Russian oil tanker sails through the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles and the Black Sea to get to warm water. There are things we could do to really put Russia in a hurt locker. And we've got to get beyond the talking stage and into the confrontation stage. I think Putin, unfortunately, has incentive to invade because we haven't done anything to deter him, especially when we can't pass our own defense bill.
That's right. Unfortunately, Ted Cruz had a bill to put sanctions on Nord Stream 2, but of course that was stopped by the Democrats. So again, we are not doing what needs to be done as our adversaries are on the march. General, we'll keep a spotlight on it, and it's good to have you this morning, Arnold Punaro, joining us today.